Hey, did you know we're also on Spotify? You can listen to No Offsides on Spotify while you're busting out reps in the gym, driving to your next tournament, mowing the lawn to gain brownie points with your wife because you're always gone at tournaments, or while you're getting in some much needed shooting and stick handling practice. So if you're into multitasking, make sure to follow us on Spotify, where you can listen to all of our awesome content on the Spotify app. What's up, Rink Rats? It's Woody. I'm here to tell you that this week's episode is brought to you by Champion Hockey. If you're looking for quality wheels, sticks, bags, and apparel, then look no further. Champion Hockey has everything you need to look and play like a champion. Check out top-of-the-line Legacy Series sticks and wheels and upgrade your game without breaking the bank. Go to champion.hockey to purchase your gear now, and make sure to check out Champion on Instagram at Champion Hockey to stay updated with products and events. Champion Hockey. Look like a champion.
No offside.
Welcome back for another episode of No Offsides, sponsored by Champion Hockey. I'm Dan Dean here with my partner, Justin Wood.
What's up?
Our guest today plays for the United States this year and for PAMA Labeda Golden Knights. Welcome, Scott Savage.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
What's up, man?
Glad to have you. You know, you play for one of the more fierce teams in the pro North American circuit. You play for your country, so we are honored to have you on the show.
No, I'm excited to be here. I love what you guys are doing for the game of roller. It's awesome to see the media coverage with you guys, Roller Dad News, and I think the more roller can kind of become popular in the media, the more kids that are going to be coming from ice and really understanding how great roller hockey is. And so sources like you guys on social media nowadays are great for the game.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. And, it's, before we head in there, I want to say, our thoughts are with Bethel University, as it's unfortunate that their program was just cut today due to financial mishap with their previous administration. So if you want any more on the story from what we've gathered so far, it's on our Instagram. We made a post on it. So, our thoughts are with all those players that actually did not know and were reaching out to us and being like, what, this is happening? And was like, yes, this is happening. We're sorry. We're sorry you found out through us, not your school. So, but we do encourage them to seek other options of playing in other colleges that have roller hockey. But it's an unfortunate scenario. So, but we're here. Scott, sorry to take away your spotlight here, but we just figured I wanted to throw that in there. Scott, did you happen to have did you play ice or roller in college? Or juniors or anything?
Yeah, so I played, I started with roller hockey when I was 4, and then I switched to ice when I was probably, 7 or 8, started playing both, and then played ice in juniors at the national team out in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and then I played ice in college, and then at Boston College, and played 4 or 5 years after, but then always would come back to roller every summer. I always joke and say that I love roller more than ice. I don't think that's true, but I think it was pretty darn close that, I started with roller. I attribute so much of my ice game to the skills and things that I learned in roller. So it was always my, one of the highlights of the year was, getting home for the summer training and then obviously getting to get back on the skates. So that was a big part of my summer every year, was just getting back with the boys and having a good summer of roller.
Heck yeah.
And then you went on and played in the ECHL, right?
Yeah. I signed with Cleveland after my senior year, and so I had a 1-year deal with Cleveland. Spent most of the year down in Jacksonville, and then got called back up to Cleveland in the American League, and then spent most of my time in the coast, and played a couple games up in the American League, and then I had a big injury during the COVID season in 2021. Had 2 surgeries on my knee, and then couldn't move forward playing ice. Rehab for about 1.5 years, and then had to call it. And so I, started working, and thank God I have roller hockey still. So I'm fortunate that I can, still play that.
Well, we're very glad to have you still playing roller hockey because I do want to put this out there. What's his name? I forget his name, Justin. Jesus, I'm
My
terrible. at names.
telepathy's not working.
Yeah, come on, man. We've been doing this for so long. You should know. Give me a second.
Describe them. Use adjectives.
Ryan Marker had some nice words to say about you. He said, "You are like probably one of the most savage players hardest players to play against on defense, and your offensive skills are very underrated."
Yeah, well, thank you, Ryan, for saying that. He's also a threat and a guy that I look for when I'm playing against him to shut down and get afraid of. I try to stay out of the way of a shot, but sometimes have to, unfortunately, eat one of those. He's got an absolute bomb. But yeah, that's been my MO. I mean, really since I played, I'm not a huge guy, so I really had to be smart. That's kind of what I think helped me advance in ice was the way I saw the game. And like I said, that was a huge attribute to roller, and kind of you have so much more puck time, you have more time and space, you can be poised, you're not chipping pucks, you're not icing, you know what I mean? So I really credit roller to my development as a player. But yeah, I try to be as shutdown as I can, be hard to play against, ride the fine line. Obviously there's no checking in roller, but always try to be physical, be a force to be reckoned with in the corners. And, at the same time, I'm fortunate to play with a lot of really highly skilled players on our team. So obviously roller, third man in as a defenseman is a great way to score and create offense. So that's something that I've always worked on. And you always want to be a threat where you can and contribute offensively. Luckily, I just try to get the puck to Junior and Travis and those guys and let them go score. But it's fun to join the rush and, contribute offense where I can as well.
All right, and if you love this show, then you will also love the College Roller Foundation. The College Roller Foundation is a volunteer-run, tax-exempt 501c3 nonprofit organization that exists solely to raise and distribute funds to deserving college roller hockey student athletes in the form of scholarships. The College Roller Foundation isn't a tournament series, league, championship, governing body, or sanctioning agency, but rather works with partners to host events to raise and distribute all those dollar bills to roller players who also like to get their academia on. By raising money through donations and divvying out these scholarships to the players, the College Roller Foundation seeks to grow the game of roller in college. And if you're interested in finding more info, helping out, or donating, please visit www.collegerollerfoundation.com and make sure to follow them on Instagram at College Roller Foundation. College Roller Foundation, growing the roller game one scholarship at a time. It's time to join a revolution in roller with US Roller Cup, a premier roller hockey tournament series. The US Roller Cup is led by a passion for the sport. US Roller Cup is driven to create an unparalleled experience for players, fans, and coaches alike. With a focus on promoting roller hockey at all levels from youth to professional, we are committed to growing the game and fostering a sense of community within the roller hockey world. To find out more information, find tournaments near you, or to sign up for an upcoming tournament, go to www.usrollercup.com and be sure to follow USRC on Instagram at US Roller Cup. US Roller Cup, a revolution in roller.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I actually just threw a little replay of you doing exactly what you just said on the bottom of the screen there.
Nice.
Yeah, saving the puck at the point, sending it back in deep, walking in the slot, getting a shot and scoring. It's beautiful, man.
I couldn't see it, but I hope it was a good play.
It was your game against Black Ice.
Oh, okay.
And so it was on a power play. But yeah,
that was the championship game. Yep, that State Warriors 2 years ago. I do remember that one.
I bet.
So,
that one felt good.
And I know I'm going to catch flack because Marker is an avid watcher or listener, and so the fact that I forgot his name, and I'm just going to put it out there. I teach, and it takes me 3 months to remember people's names unless I use it all the time. So it's no excuse, but Marker, I'm sorry. But yeah, you played ECHL, AHL, right, until you got injured. I mean, what would you say helps you the most from your ice game in today's roller pro scene?
That's a good question. Honestly, I never thought about going the opposite way of what in my ice game hit my roller, because everyone's always asking, right? What in roller did you use to translate to your ice game? But honestly, just probably the maturity that you have to learn and play with in pro, whether in any league. And honestly, it starts in college, but, just being responsible with the puck, understanding that, hey, this is a 1-on-2. I should probably, especially with roller in possession, I should turn this back. So just, kind of handling every game with that mature pro mentality. I mean, if you look at some of the younger kids breaking into pro, a lot of them, may have more skill than a lot of the veteran guys. Maybe they're faster, they're stronger, they're skating more. But at the same time, if you don't think the game the right way, you're going to get punished by the more savvy veteran guys. You look at like a Jamie Yoder or any of the OG vets that are still playing. They maybe lost a step, but their brains are still they're firing. They're seeing the game well. And they'll make you pay. They'll wait for you to take an extra stick handle, stick on puck, and then it's going the other way. So that's something that, like I said, I really try to play the game the right way and the smart way all the time. And that's something that was ingrained in me in ice, was to always make the right play. That's what kept me in the lineup every night when I was a bubble guy in the AHL, eliminating the self-inflicted mistakes, right? And always trying to make the right play. So that's something I try to bring, in every game that I play in roller.
Nice. Did you watch the finals for Stanley Cup?
I did. Yeah. No, that was, textbook, Florida. I was hoping Edmonton was going to pull it off just because, I think McDavid deserves a cup and, I don't have any allegiance really to either team, but, Florida, you saw their defense, they boxed out so hard, Bobrovsky, you didn't really see many challenging looks because every net from battle, Ekblad, all their big D are just, cross-checking guys and no one got near the paint. And so he saw a lot of pucks and, that's the key to win in those tight games is just boxing out. And then you look at the goal, the first goal for Florida, the guy standing by himself net front. Did you ever see that look for Edmonton on Florida? Absolutely not. Nope. So, it's just a key detail and that's all about being gritty and playing the right way defensively.
Yeah, I wanted to get your opinion because as a guy playing a lot of roller now, you watched Edmonton pull their goalie there at the end, and then they decided they didn't want possession, which was weird to me. I thought, I don't know, from watching a bunch of roller from tours just recently, and then watching that game, I was like, these guys should have been watching tours. They would have known to hold on to that puck and not just throw it away.
For sure. Yeah, it was tough because they had a really good shift with maybe 2.5 minutes left. So it was almost too early to pull. And I thought they were maybe going to get an icing or get a whistle at net front, call a timeout, and then pull, but it just didn't really align. So I felt their coach's pain because it was one of those in-between situations. And then, it's like, oh, there's only a minute left. We got to pull. And, then they didn't have a clean breakout and that was it. So, yeah, but hats off to Florida. They played a good game in the final.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go back to what you were saying about young players trying to break into the pro scene, right? And so a lot of these young players come with a very skillful handset, right? They're quick on their feet. But I also feel like that they're so quick they don't want to slow the game down, right? They want to take on, like you said, that 1-on-2 challenge or take a bad outside shot, right? And then maybe they miss the net or it just gets covered up instead of puck possession. For instance, Black Ice 2.0 in tours, actually much better than I think anyone would have seen for a first-time pro team. Granted, yes, they probably play against some of those Black Ice guys at a higher level in men's league or, whether they practice or not. But, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say here is if there is any advice that you could give to these young kids that are, starting to peak into potentially being pro players, what is something that you would say to them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just watch as much hockey as you can. If you can see, for example, a Black Ice PAMA matchup, it's probably going to bore you to death. It's a giant chess match. And the reason for that is that both of us respect each other so much. We understand or partial. It can be, any of the top teams, but, we obviously see them in a lot of playoff games and they're all 1-goal games, 2-goal games. And, as soon as you make a mistake or cheat offensively, I'm giving up a 2-on-1 with Billy Pascali and KJ going the other way. They're going to make they're going to make it count, right? So, I think once you develop the understanding of hey, I probably shouldn't pinch here, but I'm going to, and then you see a 2-on-1 go down the other way and they bury, you're probably not going to do that again. And then, like I said before, just watching as much roller as you can and watching the teams that have success at the pro level, what they're doing, and staying within their structure. I mean, Black Eyes 2.0, they have one of the best coaches in the game, at the helm, and you could see it in their game. I watched some of the tours from home when I could, and they're going to be a really good team, and I think that was still a respectable showing for them at tours. First tournament, and they're only going to get better as they get older and stronger and things like that. But you got to learn, the stuff that you can control. You always have to do the right way, and that at least gives you a chance to win games.
Yeah. Now, as a defenseman, I mean, are there expectations that you set for your forwards? I mean, I understand that the people you play with are workhorses, but like, is there some expectations that you're like, hey, this is what I need you to do in order to like support me on the back end?
For sure. I mean, we're lucky. We've had our core group has played together for so long. We're fortunate that we all play beach hockey together on Saturdays, and we play Tuesdays throughout most of the year for a local kind of beer league. But it's decent hockey, and so we know each other so well that we almost don't really have to. Everyone knows where they're going to be in a sense. But yeah, I mean, it's just as long as we're we play man for the most part, and I think the biggest thing for us is just making sure we're talking. If you as a guy or a guy has a step on you, it's just asking for help. If a forward's back checking and knows he's beat, they just talk with us and we pick it up on the back end, and that makes things communications. It sounds stupid, but if you're talking, the hockey game can become way easier. But some people don't like to do that, and it makes it hard. But if you know where everyone is on the rink, it makes your decision making that much easier. So. I don't really have any, quote unquote expectations, but, as long as everyone's working hard and battling, and, I think that's what leads our team to have success.
Okay.
You said beach hockey. Would go on.
So beach hockey is the greatest game of roller hockey on the planet. It's every Saturday in Newport Beach. We have a group of guys, and, some of the older guys have been doing it for 20 years. I'm sure you've seen it, on Instagram and stuff. We have a pickup game every Saturday, but it's pretty much the same group of 15 to 20 guys that basically only can skate at it, and it's the best. You're playing on a blacktop in Newport Beach, and then we grill and have some beers and go out after, and so it is the best way to spend a Saturday. I look forward to it every week, and the only time we're not skating is if we're at a tournament or if it's raining.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time, man.
Is this a puck or a ball?
No, we play with a ball. 6-on-6, games of 3. Goalies change after every goal. That's the beach hockey way.
Hell yeah!
I mean, I grew up watching kind of like the beach hockey scene, and like my brother was big in the tournaments when I was younger before I even got into roller, and so like, we would end up watching beach roller hockey, and it was the craziest thing in the world. So I would love to see more of it.
Yeah, we don't have the ramps going behind the nets. I didn't get to see too much of it when it was at its peak. They actually just did a documentary, and there was a showing of it this past Friday. So I'm interested to see it. Rob Sherman, our head coach, was I think pretty involved and played, and a lot of roller hockey legends got to play with those funny skates and ramps behind the net. I wish I was a little bit older and got to see more of it, but. Yeah, no, it's everyone always raves about how cool it was back in Huntington Beach when it was going.
Well, and looking at, I mean, you've probably seen some of the videos that have been posted on like Instagram and stuff like that. It's just interesting because when you look at the camera and you're like, is the rink wet? The rink is always so shiny, and it's just like it almost looks like they're skating on puddles.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Wearing full gear in peak summer, I'm sure that was not I'm sure everyone was pretty hot and uncomfortable, but it looked like a blast.
Are you guys using that like weighted ball?
Yeah, we try to keep the commissioner, our go-to veteran guys, have a stash, but it's a weighted ball, but it's not as, I guess we beat it down a little bit with the blacktop, and so it's not as hard and bouncy. It's a little bit more dead, but the boys let it fly. Etan has he's known for letting it fly a little bit too high sometimes, and he's scary out there because you're not wearing any gear or net, but you definitely wear a couple off the shins, and it doesn't feel too great. But I'm by no means known as a good goalie. I pretend I'm allergic to the ball when I play goalie, so I just try to make up for it on the offensive end.
There you go.
That's awesome.
So you're just wearing your normal pads as a goaltender?
No, you're just skates and board shorts and gloves. That's it.
So it's like a cross goalie.
Yeah, you're a lacrosse goalie for sure. Yep.
Oh God.
You're Travis Noah Jr. ripping shots off the post at you.
Oh, that sounds
Oh my God.
awesome, but miserable at the same time.
Yeah.
How
big's the rink?
That's a good question. It's a giant blacktop. It's huge, but we probably I don't know. We probably play. It's probably I don't know 150 feet, 100 feet.
Okay.
It's pretty sizable. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it just like a blacktop, no boards, just like kind of like a parking lot kind of thing?
No, it is. Yeah, the ball's if you shoot long on one end, it's going to the sand. You're either going in with your skates or having somebody grab it. The other end, it's just more blacktops. So you're going for a skate and getting some conditioning in. No, it is a true just two plastic nets and a ball and a group of good guys. It's awesome.
That sounds like a hell of a lot of fun.
Yep.
You know, having cool things like that in the community down there, I think that's part of why that area has always produced such good roller players.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said, it's something that keeps our team together. You know, we're here year round for most of us from California, so we get to go play and bond and get to have competitive games that because the winter stays, so everyone's trying hard. Especially there's a lot of guys you don't want to be sitting out waiting for your next. We pick the losers pick basically the next team, so it's super competitive. But yeah, it's a great outlet, and then it brings together some of the local guys in the community, and then obviously we're fortunate to have Irvine, which hosts Winter Nationals and Pacific Cup and all those things. So we usually don't go more than a month or two without having some sort of tournament or something to play in. So we're super fortunate.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I got to ask, is it the old-fashioned way of picking sticks for teams, or is it kind of just like, hey, you guys are on a team?
No, it's basically the first game. We start around 10 in the morning, and we'll kind of just divide up. So, if there's 4 pros, it'll be 2 and 2, and then we kind of basically grade down and split off. And then after that, if there's 2 extra guys, they get to pick from the losing team, and the winner stays. And then, we basically just cycle the whole day. It's awesome.
Okay.
So, when there's peak summer, we have 20, 24 guys. You have 4 teams. If you, lose a quick game 3-0, you're sitting for a half hour. So it makes you want to go on a long run because, you can win 5 games in a row, play for 2 hours straight and never come off. So it's really fun.
Heck yeah.
All right. SoCal hockey and, get the board shorts, and if you're single, you get the ladies.
That's it.
So
yeah, do you get a lot of people just hanging out watching?
Yeah. People always cruise by. It's a super busy, Newport's always buzzing in the summer. So you got people to come, stop by, and the unfortunate people that kind of try to show up with gear and don't necessarily get in, but that's the way she goes. So.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
it's nice to be able to be selective.
Yeah. Now, everyone's noticed that PAMA was not at tours last weekend, right? There's a reason for that. Do you want to kind of tell us what's going on with that?
Yeah, for sure. It kind of just came down to a few things, but I'm sure you guys have seen the team's going to get to go play over in Prague over the 4th of July week. So that was an opportunity that was presented to us, and we also had a couple players that most likely were going to be unable to attend tours. So there was kind of a team decision made for I think I'm the only guy not going to Prague. I can't take the work off, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to watch from afar. But yeah, so it was kind of a team decision to not go to tours and go play in that and spend some time together over in Prague. Obviously it's a beautiful city. The hockey's going to be great. There's going to be some good teams there, especially with it being right in Prague. I think most of the Czech national team will be, playing for the Shakers there, and it'll be a good tune-up, but also unique experience to go overseas with each other. And I'm really bummed I'm not going to be a part of it, but I think it'll be really good for our team to go get some time together and really bond. In a foreign country, that's always something that you can be super privileged to do. And I think we'll come back ready to rock for Narch, and be firing on all cylinders. So we're excited.
Did you already have your spot filled on the team? Do they bring someone up to play your spot since you can't go, or do we need to call your boss, do a petition? What do we
No,
need?
I don't. I think they're just going with 11. I don't think we're taking 12. So if I be, you'll get a little bit more rink time, hopefully, and we'll be rolling with 11 over there.
All right.
Well, you got, you don't get to go to Prague, but you do get to go to Italy with some of your teammates as well. So, I mean, it kind of, as much as it'd be awesome to go to Prague and play, you kind of save some travel money and stuff like that. So you get to go to Italy and play for Team USA. So you got to be pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this opportunity. Obviously, anytime you can represent your country is an ultimate honor, and it's something that I haven't been able to do. In roller, I was very fortunate to play at the national team for ice my under 17, under 18 year, and we got to go to 4 nations and play in Russia and Sweden and other countries, and it's always been something that I wanted to do for roller hockey. The last year of double I's, I did get a camp invite, but it was the summer I was going into my first year pro, and Columbus wanted me at development camp, and I said, okay, I'm going to be there. Obviously, ice was the priority, and I'm not saying I would have made that team, but that was kind of I was feeling good about my game at that point, and
Sure.
It's all hindsight now. But yeah, I'm really really excited for this opportunity. To go over with Travis and Eton, who I play with, with PAMA, and then a group of guys that I've played against my whole life, and it's going to be great. I'm really excited. We have a great group, and I'm looking forward to doing some damage over there with a really fun roster.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Is this the same rink that Chris Ferraro was talking about? Dan?
I'm not 100% sure because they always move the veterans and legends. They move around in Italy, but I'm not 100% sure if, and I'm going to butcher it, Roccaraso is the same, if it's at the same place every year. I think they move it around as well, but okay. I'm not 100% sure. Because yeah, some of those places, some of those rinks are really nice in Italy.
Yeah. I think I was talking to someone, and I think they have played at that rink. I don't think I think it's pretty small, kind of little ski resort city. So I assume they only have, one rink, but I'm pretty sure they've had the veterans or masters or something over there. I think it's a 2-hour bus ride or something like that from Rome. So, it's gonna be a good time. Really excited for that. So
you need to go see the Vatican.
I don't think so. For me, it's just a business trip. Yeah, we fly in. I think we have one practice day, and then the tournament starts, and then I got to fly back. I don't get to extend. I think some guys are going to extend their trip, but work is unfortunately, rules king for me nowadays. A little bit less fortunate with the freedom to take time off. So yeah, I'll be hopefully coming back after a successful tournament for us.
I think you guys will have a good tournament.
Yeah, because I think the last one I remember, I can't remember how long ago that was in Alabama, right?
Yeah, I think 2 summers ago.
Yeah, that was a really good tournament. That was sick, and I can't wait to watch that on. It's probably on YouTube or something like that, but we'll eventually post it once we know where it's been streamed at. But you'll be able to face what essentially will be, I'm hoping, is Team France at Narch. So, I mean, you'll be playing with PAMA, but you'll get to see what I would think, because it's FMT, so it's from their France. So you might get to see the national team of France before you even get there for Worlds. So that'd be pretty cool, right? I mean, that's they're really, between them, they're competitive. And Czech and all them, they're really competitive as well.
For sure. Yeah, I think they're going to be at Narch and State Wars, so it'll be good to get some looks at them. They always play fast, and they have they play with a lot of speed. But that's beyond that, I don't really know who they'll have or things like that. I don't have much exposure to the pro roller scene over in Europe. I'll have to talk to Kevin Mooney, who's the mayor of Spain over there and just winning championships left and right. So I'll have to get the scoop from him on the Euro side of roller. But yeah, it's going to be good. I think it'll be interesting to see them kind of have to adjust to playing on our rinks with our nets and things like that. But then, when it comes to in September, we'll be, I'm not sure what the rink size is in River also. And then we'll be on the small nets. So that's always a little bit of an adjustment for us too. So yeah, it's good to see, I think France, Sweden's playing in the play-in for PAMA Pro. So it's always great to see, get different looks at different teams and, see what they can bring to the tournament.
Now, you mentioned the small nets. Is there any preparation for that, or is it just shoot low?
Yeah, we played I think it was Furs in Huntington Beach when I was probably, I don't know, 14, maybe 15. It was like me and John Chavo, and we had a fun team. We lost to France actually in the final. I think it was France. Yeah, it was on the small nets, but there was not. I think we got one practice on them, but yeah, you just gotta get your head up and hit the net. But yeah, it's probably it's a little bit different. Have less to shoot at, especially bigger goalies. Sure, you have to get a little more creative and tight. Maybe, I think breakaways, it may be different. I usually don't get too many of those, but you never know.
Well, luckily, you have a few guys that play over in Europe that always play against these smaller goals in Sigmund, DiMartino, right?
Hodge was over there.
Yeah, Hodge is over there. So, you have the guys that are used to it they play most of the year there, and then they come back and they're able to just shoot on a bigger net, which I think is probably an advantage for them when it comes to playing in North America after playing in Europe all along, because now their shots aren't going to ring off the crossbar. They're just going to go top shelf every time. So yeah, I mean, just give them the puck, I guess.
Yep. Give them the puck to Sigmund is never a bad idea. So that's something I'll for sure be doing.
Who do you guys have for a goalie for that tournament?
We have Redmond and Machinsky. Yeah. So 2 rock solid guys.
Yeah, we haven't. Well, I guess we talked to Teed a long time ago about tending on the different size nets, but that was early. We didn't have the same wealth of knowledge to dig from asking people that question. We get to ask a lot of players what it's like shooting on a smaller net.
Sure. Yeah.
But we don't really get to talk to the goalies if they feel like they're more comfortable or not. Well, you're also getting to play against or play with a lot of guys that you normally play against. Do you look forward to that? Just kind of create new camaraderie, find new chemistry?
Yeah, no, it'll be really fun. Obviously, it's just there's such a respect factor when you get a group like that, and the biggest thing in these tournaments is how quickly can you come together. And it's one of those things where you're going to get guys that are used to playing on the power play and guys that are used to being on the first penalty kill and being on the rink and the top moments. And it's just like tournaments like this. It's just a team first mentality. Your role may change, but everyone has to be the best at that role, no matter what it is. So I'm really excited, but at the same time, it's going to be fun. It's like we're so deep. I think with us, it's not going to matter what four we have on the rink as long as everyone's doing their job. It's going to be really fun to just go line after line and see what kind of combinations we can come up with, and it's going to be fun.
Hell yeah! Maybe get a couple of those beach hockey sessions in, because those nets are probably smaller, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's like little my net. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, and you have the perk. I mean, I'm sure you guys can play it and get a couple good sessions at the Nijar Arena too, if you want to.
Absolutely, yeah. We're so fortunate that facility is state of the art, and we're so lucky to be a part of the organization and all the things that they do for us, but also just the game of roller hockey. It's pretty amazing. They fund so many teams. They have the PGKA, international stuff with Dave Hammond and Pablo, and it's truly incredible. And I don't think people always fully see the big picture of what they do for the game. It's truly incredible, and it's something that I'll always be forever grateful for.
How often do you get to skate over there?
I mean, we definitely could go more. It's a little bit of a hike for me, but I don't know. We probably get over there. Some guys get over there more than others, but I don't know, probably 2 or 3 times a year. But I could definitely, if I wanted to, go whenever I want. But it's like I said, it's a pretty
Wow.
decent drive for me, so I don't get to go out there as much. But we hosted a 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 tournament 2 Christmases ago, and it was awesome. We had like 10 teams and did a cash prize. So we'll try to maybe do some more events like that. But it's tough to maintain everyone's schedules and things like that. But they never have the doors closed, that's for sure. So they'll always make it happen for us if we want to get out there.
That's really cool.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned PGKA, right? Which they're, it's kind of like Black Ice 2.0 or Black Ice Purple, depending on what name they're going in with. So it's nice that you're part of an organization that is also bringing up the next generation, right? And so you have PGKA coming up into the men's pro division at Narch, as well as Black Ice 2.0. They're going in as purple this time. I mean, are these, you might know a little more than we do, are these young kids like 18 years old and stuff like that are on this team, or?
To be honest, that's a good question. I think there's a chance that it's a lot of the kids from Namibia who play for the national team. If I had to guess, there probably is some more European guys sprinkled in. I wish I had more info on the team that they're bringing for pro specifically, but if I had to guess, that's probably the majority of the group. But regardless, the more we can have Black Ice 2.0, PAMA affiliated teams, I'm sure Roadrunners could put together a team. There's a little bit of a changing of the tide with, I guess maybe a wave of core pro guys kind of entering maybe the later stages. A lot of these guys can play forever, but at the same time, not everyone is, either as fortunate, everyone's starting families, things like that, where roller kind of becomes less a priority. And that's where you're going to see this new wave. You look at a team like the Rage Cats or, some of that younger core where they're, say the average age is 22 or 23, versus, probably 28 or 29 for some of the older squads like the Snipers or us, things like that. So, it's exciting to see. And, the tides are starting to change a little bit for just, who's involved in pro and kind of where the game is going.
With kind of on that same vein, how do the PAMA guys feel about Eton doing the whole Dangle Dojo team?
Is he are they playing pro?
They did at Wish.
They did it Wish.
Okay. Yeah, he's basically, he's just doing so much for the game. The Dangle Dojo is absolutely incredible what he's doing for the youth, and then obviously he has his men's guys, and he'll play, in any tournament that he can play. And the guy just loves the game of hockey and is an absolute, he's just a gamer. He'll if there is a game breaking out in the front of my shoot right now, he'd be the first guy to go grab skates and find a way to play. So, it's awesome. We're happy he's playing as much as he is, and he's playing some of the best hockey I think he's ever played. So, it's no shock that he, made the USA team, and we're really excited to see him and have him, on our side going into summer. So it's awesome.
Hell yeah. What do you think about those uniforms?
I think they're awesome. I love the whole idea, just the little senseis, and it's cool. The ninjas. It's just, I love the theme, and like I said, just what he's doing for the game of hockey and giving opportunity for kids. He has a lot of like learn to play and I guess beginner level youth players. Like if no one gives that platform to kids to come play, they may have never stepped in the game of hockey. It's kind of how I started in San Clemente. There was a roller hockey rink that just opened when we moved to San Clemente when I was 4 years old. The family we bought the house from had 2 kids who were 5 years older than me. They were just starting to play, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll go check out the rink. And I never looked back. If they didn't tell me, hey, go check out this hockey rink, I never would have played. No one in my family played. So it's just about giving a kid an opportunity. And will all of them make the NHL? Probably not. But you never know how like of an impact roller hockey might have in their lives. So it's awesome to see.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and for what he charges for people to play at the Dangle Dojo is fantastic for families that that might not necessarily have a lot of money. So
absolutely, yeah.
And he's and the fact that when we had him on here, he was like, I'm trying to go out for Team USA. I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm too old. I'll probably be the oldest guy on the roster. And we're like, what are you talking about? Like, you can hang. Like,
Yeah, he's too humble.
Yeah.
But
Um,
I was gonna say, you talked about, PAMA doing a lot of things, right? You got Africa Cup, you got now their IIHS, was it Bohemian Series, right? Whether it's like skills and other stuff like that. I mean, they are so involved in the roller hockey community globally and, stateside too. It is definitely just something great to see that they have the means to be able to grow the sport.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
just something.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just something. I just wanted to put out there. Thank you to the PAMA Golden Knights for doing that and being able to bring people like the game of the sport, because just from pictures and stuff from like Africa Cup is just so unique.
Yeah.
And like for just seeing a country that doesn't necessarily have the means to play hockey, that the growth in Africa has been tremendous over the past few years, and PAMA has had their hands in it to help the growth, and it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you kind of ever look at yourself and you're like, I play on like probably the top roller organization? Do you ever really think about that, or do you just play hockey and keep playing?
No, I mean, it's something that we'll never forget. I mean, Papa Mike is in the locker room before games and, instilling, his his knowledge and his wisdom in us every day. And, it's none of us take it for granted. I think there, maybe people that, I don't know, don't see it as, I mean, I guess fair. I don't know how you describe it, but, we all understand how fortunate we are. And, they pay it forward. And, I think a lot of us make it our mission to pay it forward as well. When John Seamer was out in California, he had a couple PAMA youth teams. And, I think Travis Snow just did a USA hockey camp out in Irvine. And I think he is, eventually going to probably look into, I don't know about starting a program, but, we all want to get back to the game when we can. And, we definitely don't take the opportunities that we're given from the Nijars for granted. And that's why we want to go out and win every tournament we possibly can, to make them proud. And, last summer, wasn't a great summer for us. I mean, we made, lost in the semi at Tours, lost in the finals at Narch, and then we got first seed at State Wars and lost in the quarters of Black Ice. And, it's, some may say, hey, you made playoffs every tournament, made a final, like, it's a good summer. But for us, we're never satisfied. And, we definitely need to win more, to kind of get back on track.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I feel like we had you between periods right there. You were zoned in with that answer. I liked it.
Yeah. I'm fired up for the summer. That's for sure.
Now, are we going to see you at Narch and at PAMA?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I'll definitely be playing Narch and State Wars, knock on wood. The only reason I missed State Wars last year was for an exploded finger. So I hope that, doesn't happen again. And if I get slashed, it's the padding this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think about the? Oh, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is not important, Justin. Go for it.
I just kind of wanted to ask him what he thought about the outcome of Tours.
Yeah, I got winners. To see, parts of it. It's a lot of the usual suspects, kind of made it down to the Final Four there. I wasn't surprised to see the Rage Cats. I think they have a lot of offensive weapons. They're kind of a younger team that's probably going to take the pro scene by storm here. And, when you have the big guns like Car Shield, Roadies, and Black Ice, any of those three teams, that's why it'd be almost fun to see, some of these tournaments in some, hypothetical way get to have best of threes, just because, those matchups are all awesome. But it's also what makes roller unique, right? Is you don't have a series. You just have to win one game and then you're moving on. So, I wasn't surprised by the result. I think, Car Shield was still kind of shaking off the rust and things like that through round robin. And
Yeah.
once you get in the
Oh, for sure.
playoffs, it doesn't matter what seed you are. You're gonna have to beat everyone anyways to win a tournament. So yeah, it was a good way to start the summer. Obviously, I wish we were able to go. I was definitely missing it, and bummed that we weren't there. But Narch and State Wars are going to be here soon enough. So I'm super pumped to get back on the wheels and obviously see everyone. The roller community is awesome. So it's always fun to see everyone regardless. And it's going to be a fun summer.
Now,
I thought it was great to see the Rage Cats do so well. We talked to Andrew Height, and he was like, I think we're going to kill it. I think we're going to do good. And they showed up.
For sure.
and they even have Lane Maxwell in goal, and their goalie stood on their head and got MVP. So, they had people step up when they need them to, and they watching their games, they were in almost every game. So,
yeah.
Now you also mentioned, Scott. You mentioned best of 3. That would be pretty sweet to see. I do have a question because this was brought up to me the other day. Do you think a 4-game round robin is enough to seed, whether it's 9, 12, 16 teams?
I think so. It's just at that point, if you're going above 12 teams, I think it begs the question of if you can't see it off that, you know what I mean, is you look at State Wars, right? There's 12 teams. And I think that's a great number. I think you go beyond 12, you get into the question of, the bottom 4, are they true pro teams, and they absolutely may be, but at the same time, then you just have to have a good round robin, you know what I mean? And there's kind of like a weighted schedule, right, to new teams or teams that, didn't seed well. They're going to have a harder round robin, and that's just kind of the way it goes, I guess. Is it fair? I'm not sure, but at the same time, I don't think anyone would want to see, Black Ice or any of the top teams, play 3 games against the 3 other top teams and be eliminated, so it's just, I don't think there's a perfect way to do round robin, but I think team selection for pro, I think it should be calculated. I think it is important to have the right teams in the pro division. I do think goal differential, is great. I think Narch has always been goals against first. And to me, an 11-1 win is not the same as 1-0. I think an 11-1 win in a pro game is more impressive than a 1-0 win. I'll ride that, until I die. So that's one change that I'd want to see, is goal differential at Narch.
Okay.
Just for seeding purposes. Yeah, I think, Narch is going to be awesome. There's a ton of teams. And, since there's 16 teams, you have to have a good round robin to get the top seed. And so knowing that it's goals against, you're going to have to play, calculated and smart to try to get yourself the best road to the final.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't know that it was goals against in Narch, so that's definitely interesting.
Yeah, so it's head to head, and goals against, and
Okay.
I think State Wars and it's head to head, and then goal differential.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm not a rules expert. I'm not the guy that's doing the predictions on if you score 2 goals. That's not me. But pretty sure Narch has always been goals against for that second tiebreaker.
Yeah, I mean, Narch has 15 teams, right? Marker was pretty happy with the team selection, which usually doesn't happen on this show. Usually a lot of the pros are like, we rather have 8 solid teams and, battle it out for round robin and not have an easy game than have more teams. But Marker had a lot of high regards for some of these teams and a lot of hope for some of these teams like the Blazers, Maple, Skittles, the Wizards. And then, of course, Black Ice 2.0 showed up looking pretty good in tours. So who knows how well they will do. But, it's going to be interesting because you can't give every team, all these new teams, there's a lot of teams here that you can't give them the top, let's just say the top 3 or top 4 teams as a schedule. You run out of game schedules because then next you know, if you do that, then these middle teams will just play each other,
Right.
and things get a little funky in standings come
sure.
playoffs. So, I mean, if you need me to read teams off, we know. But who's your dark horse making playoffs in Narch Pro?
I mean, I don't know who, teams are bringing, but I mean, that's the beauty of pro roller. Like, if you're applying to play Narch Pro, anyone can beat anybody. So I think round robin is, like you said, it's going to be exciting. There's going to be matchups that, are essentially going to be a playoff game in round robin. I'm sure only 8 teams will make it through round robin. So like I said, goals against are going to be super critical for seeding. And it's just, that's the great part about this, having 15 teams. It's like you better show up. You don't have time to take a game off. You can't take anyone lightly. For us, it doesn't matter who's in the tournament. We have to only worry about our game, and you want to keep things under your control. You don't want to be hoping for goals against, or hey, we got to pull our goalie and score 3 here, or we're out. Like, that's not a situation you want to find yourself in. So we just, we have to show up, only look at the teams we're playing and take it one game at a time. It sounds cliche, but that's the only way you'll have success.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, hey, that's but it's the truth. That's the thing, right? Some people may say it's cliche, but it's the truth. Like, you focus on yourself, you do your job, and you get rewarded. Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, there's you have your Cali teams that are typically there, right? You got Skittles, which unfortunately weren't at tours either. You got the OC Blades. They'll
have a good roster. They've beefed up with some. Darren Noack used to play for us, and they'll have some firepower under the sleeve, I'm sure. The Wizards will probably be a mix of older pro guys. Have been around a long time, and probably some younger skills spruced in. So those are 2 teams that I wouldn't want to have them in round robin if we didn't have to. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a great tournament, and like I said, it's just going to be up to us, and we got to control our own destiny.
I mean, it's up to you guys to make sure that Car Shield doesn't get the Triple Crown.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. That's for sure. Friends with a lot of those guys, but all that stuff goes out the window when we're on the rink. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I always tell people we're friends now, but as soon as we start the game, I don't like you anymore.
Yep.
I mean, if tours is the precedent for physicality on the boards, we're in for everyone going to Narch and State Wars is in for some bruises, because the refs let them play at tours. I mean, there were bodies banging, there were people falling all over each other, and the refs were just like, let's go, get up. Yeah. So, Scotty, I'm just going to say, make sure you're the one that comes out of the corner.
Yep, that's the name of the game, and that's something I try to take pride in. So I'll win as many battles as I can. That's really that's all I bring to the table nowadays, is to muck it up and try to get possession, on face-offs and stuff. But yeah, it's fun, that refs are letting us play. I think, roller hockey penalties, are really, you give black guys power plays, you're in a world of hurt. You know what I mean? I'm sure their clip rate is like 70% or something crazy. So you can't take penalties in pro. Every team's got players that can make you pay. I think it's great. I don't think roller ever needs to be full check. I think that's just not the game of roller hockey, especially with open ice stuff, even though I probably do that more than I should, try to stay out of the box. But I think the only thing that I think roller, it's interesting is, some of the stick work, the slashes and the hacks, and, it's like, I don't try to chop guys' hands off, but it's just some of that stuff flies, and you just gotta to wear them. But then it's, they get called sometimes, and then sometimes they don't. So it's interesting as far as the physicality. I'm not usually surprised, but sometimes the stick work that gets allowed, it's, that's one thing where you would never get away with it in ice at a pro level. And then there's just, to me, sometimes incredible leniency on on the stick work, but in grade A areas is what I'm talking about. You're in the slot and you're getting a chop on the hand. It's, if it's impacting a grade A scoring chance, to me that's a penalty no matter how you draw it up. But sometimes they kind of let the stick work fly too. So you got to ride the fine line always.
Yeah, you had that replay. I think you had posted it on Instagram of you kind of lighting somebody up.
Yeah.
Who was that you got?
I don't know. We were playing against Connex. I really felt bad. It was kind of funny because I was stepping, and my first instinct was we're kind of just collide here, and he's gonna kind of give me one, and I was kind of bracing, and then he just went to skate up the rink, and I just ran him over, and I immediately was like, oh shit, I just got a penalty. But yeah, I was just.
Did you get a penalty for that?
I did not. It was not called.
Yeah.
So.
I wouldn't have called it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it happened quick. It's just, like I said, I thought he was going to kind of lean into me, and it's one of those things where you kind of just rub off on each other, and that's it. But, yeah, like I said, I try to play as physical as possible. But, I think the summer we won PAMA Pro, I played all three, and, I didn't take a penalty until Pacific Cup in September, and I don't think many people would believe that. And so it's like you gotta play smart at the same time because, like I said, when you're playing in playoffs and you're trying to play physical, you give up a power play to snipers, black guys, roadrunner, any team in playoffs at Palma Pro or Narch, and you're not only you're asking your guys to eat some one timers and block shots for you. You're probably there's a good chance you're giving up a goal as well. So
yeah, we've talked to a couple of people, including Brandon Hawkins. I was gonna put a clip from him where he's talking about how if guys box up on him, especially on power plays, he's not taking prisoners. He's just gonna rip the puck at you, so you get out of the way. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and when he's taking a one timer, I'm probably gonna be standing in the corner. He's got he has an NHL shot in ice and roller. But yeah, it's exactly it. You gotta know who you're up against, and like I said, given the snipers, with Hawkins and Matt White, and the list goes on with that team of power play damage that they can do. You definitely have to be smart and disciplined in playoffs if you want to win a tournament.
Hell yeah!
Now, Scotty, I got to ask you this because this is gonna segue me into my next question. How is your shit talking game on the rink?
I mean, I probably talk a little bit. To me, it's sometimes I'll try to just stay to myself, and I wait for someone to give me a shot, and then it kind of just gets going. But like I said, I play hard. I ride the fine line of probably crossing the boundary sometimes, but I try to stay disciplined in the sense that it's not taking a penalty, and it's to me it's part of the game. Off the rink, we all have beers and get along after, but like I said, I think some people think I have like multiple personalities, and that's just I don't have an off switch. Whether it's beach hockey, and I'm other effing someone for something to do with beach hockey on a Saturday when it's all of our best friends, or Tuesday night in a beer league game at Irvine at 10 o'clock, that means absolutely nothing. Like I can't turn the switch off, and that's probably why I was able to have success growing up and in the game of hockey. But sometimes I probably come off as a dick, or I'm just ultra competitive, and I'm never going to change. But I think most people know that by now, so they don't take up too much offense to it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be where you are if you didn't have that competitive nature.
Yeah.
There's got to be a little bit of shit talking in you to like be able to be like, if you're competitive, there has to be something that you like when something happens, you got to say something, right? So
for sure.
And the reason why I asked you is because over the past few tournaments that like people like Pat Maroon have played in, right? I see more people shit talking him. So I'm just curious on like.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like what is there to say?
I don't know. It's tough. Like roller, obviously, it's physical and stuff, but like you can't fight. So I mean, I think there's a sense of I think people wouldn't be saying those things if it was ice, and you could get jumped, or you could have to answer the bell for taking a guy's head off with a flying stick or two-handed guy in the face. Like you don't really, you're not held responsible. There's maybe a scrum, there's maybe something, but no one's squaring up in roller hockey. So I think the leash is long for maybe guys who aren't going to have 10 fights a year or 5 fights a year in pro ice hockey. But at the same time, like I'm all about respect, and like I'm not chirping Pat Maroon. I'm going to play him hard, and I'm going to battle him in front of the net. But I mean, that guy's got 3 cups, and he just wants to play some roller too. So it's I don't know. It's interesting.
Now, are there any coaches that are the loudest people on the rink?
I mean, I definitely can hear an echo of Jay Miro screaming at someone for, losing their guy or something. But no, I don't know. I don't really pay too much attention to what coaches are saying or what they're doing. I got too much to worry about on my own. Making sure I don't lose my guy and get embarrassed. So.
Okay. All right, I'm going to leave that.
You're saying it like somebody.
I mean, I feel like Blood and Feathers has a loud bench. That's all I'm saying.
From what we've seen, definitely.
I've never played them, so I can't.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense then. All right. I'm just curious. I mean, I mean, we'll be talking to them soon eventually anyway, so I'll bring it up to them. But yeah, no. Now, since PAMA State Wars hasn't happened yet, we got to talk about new format as we typically do with everyone. And everyone seems to like the new format. The top 8, whoever made playoffs gets a fresh bid into the following year if they can make it. And then now it's 8 teams get to play for the top 2, get to make it to make it the 10-team playoff for State Wars. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's going to keep the tournament fresh. It's going to make round robin, that much more important for teams that are, I guess you could say on the bubble or however you would phrase it. But at the same time, like we have, I think, Black Ice, Car Shield, France, and one of the playing teams. Like that's a schedule. You know what I mean? So there's no team that's, I guess, invulnerable to being relegated or having to go play in the following year. So no, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. It gives the teams that are on the bubble a chance to, you just got to go win games. If you're on one of the teams in that play-in tournament, and at the same time, once you're in, all bets are off. You know what I mean? It's like, the Kings back when they won their cups, I think they were like an 8 seed and maybe an 8 seed both years or something like that, when they went on their cup runs, in like 2013 or whatever it was. Yeah, so it gives you something to play for, and I think it's going to keep the tournament really competitive, and it's that much more important to have a good round robin and get good seeding, so you get invited back next year.
Do you think this is something that should probably be adopted throughout all the big 3?
I mean, in an ideal world, yeah, but at the same time, like, most of us are, the guys that are playing pro ice, they have a little bit more of a lenient summer schedule, but everyone's still got real life going on. So I don't think everyone could take that extra day, off work for all 3 tournaments. I mean, maybe, and if guys are fortunate to do that, that's great. But I just don't know how realistic it would be to have a play in. Granted, they still get to play a tournament, so they would have maybe been there anyways. I think that's probably the hardest part is logistics and rink time. But do I think it would be something that, could be adopted to all of them? Like, absolutely. I don't see, why it would hurt, especially since they're going to play their own tournament after. It's not like you're flying down to, California or Florida for 3 games or something like that. But yeah, it would be interesting if other tournaments started to adopt it.
All right. Now, your prediction. Out of the 8 teams, Car Shield Blast, Champion Wheelers, Blood and Feathers, Ringster Propel, Skittles, Sweden, Team Chemistry, and Black Ice 2.0, which 2 make it to the main event?
That's a good question. I mean, I haven't seen, a lot of the teams, or I don't know who's going to have who and those things. It's always, important. But, I mean, the Skittles are a good team. I think, they've been a little light with players and things like that. But, they've made it to the semis and we're up 2-0 on Black Ice last year at Narch. And they have a lot of high-end talent, good goaltender. And I think, they're always poised to make a run in a pro tournament. I think, if they kind of get back on their game, they'll have a chance to come out for sure. And then I think, Propel had a had a good tours. You know, I think they had a big win over maybe Carsfield, maybe, or I don't know. They almost did. You know, they have a lot of good players. You know, but I think that's going to be interesting. I just, you know, I don't know enough about everybody to really speak on it too well, but I would put my hat on Skittles as one of the teams coming out, maybe, and then you know, maybe I don't know who the Carsfield Blast is, or you know, Propel, you know, would have a chance maybe too. But
Okay.
I think I think it'll be interesting just because it's the first time, and so it's kind of like one of those things where who really knows?
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, because roller hockey is just the ever evolving door on who's playing on what team, especially if you're not on like the staple, let's just say 4 or 5, right? And so, you know, Black Ice 2.0 had a good tournament. They could be very sneaky. Chemistry actually looked a hell of a lot better than I thought they were going to, because
Agreed.
from all the research and analytics, I don't know if they've won a round robin game in quite some time. Sweden they had a rough tournament last year, right?
But we're hearing they're going to be good this year.
Yeah. Right. And also Markers hinted at he's playing for Team Chemistry. So, you know, as I said, it's that ever evolving door on who's joining what team for the summer. Unless you're on PAMA, Black Ice, Roadrunners, Car Shield, and I would probably even say Rage Cats, because they seem to have the very similar roster every summer. From those 5, everyone else seems to have a rotating cast. So, you know, it definitely throws a wrench in, you know, and that's what makes these predictions so hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't want your guys' job, that's for sure. That's you know, and I'm sure you make a lot of people a little bit unhappy, and that's why I'm trying to be, you know, calculate with my words, because, you know, at the same time, like
come on.
I'll try to, you know, just go out, make sure we have a good summer run here, because, you know, the expectations are high and we put them on ourselves to be good and be solid every year. But yeah, it's kind of the unfortunate thing with the summer and weddings, and, you know, I'm good friends with Garrett Ross, and he, you know, had a wedding that he absolutely needed to be at. It's one of his best friends that he's grown up with forever, and so he missed Sunday at tours. And, you know, I'm sure it's no fun. You know, I was getting stitches when we lost to Black Ice last summer in the final at Narch. Like, I almost threw my phone out the ER. It sucked. You know, so it's just one of those things where it's kind of like, you know, an ice season, you're never going to see that. But with roller, you know, injuries, weddings, real life stuff happens, and, you know, that absolutely does make it interesting. And it's kind of one of those things where, you know, anything can happen, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, yeah, and it makes it more fun for us because analytics gives us reactions, and people don't like analytics. So, and that's why, you know, we put out the analytics for, you know, potential, like who's going to, like, top 6 or whatever out of the 9 for tours. And I mean, I personally love when the analytics is wrong. I love being like doing all the work and everything like that, and then next, you know, it's like, boom, right? Blood and Feathers just stole a point against Car Shield because they went to a shootout with them, right? And I think, I mean, it was like 2 or 3 of the games for Car Shield went to a shootout, which is insane. But you know, it just
almost
makes,
like they wanted it.
Yeah, they wanted that 6 seed or 5 seed, wherever they were at.
I think they just wanted to be able to do a shootout.
They have the firepower for it, that's for sure.
That's the thing, is like, you know, you go to a shootout with Car Shield, you're like, they got nothing but shooters.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just, as much as I know that, like, when we put out, like, you know, the rankings or, you know, analytics and saying like this is who's projected to make whatever seed or whatever, but it's not, and that's why we put it out there, like, it's not our opinion. It's just analytics. Like, it's just previous years and matchups and whatever. Like, this is what it came to. But it's always interesting when we get DMs or we get, like, comments and stuff like that. That just makes me laugh, because that's the best part.
I like it.
Yeah.
So,
still speaking about tours though, because I meant to ask you earlier,
you said you watched some of it. I thought they did a great job of the coverage this year. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's been the same, I guess, provider group to do the video. And no, they do a great job. It's, I think, I don't want to touch on it too much, but I think the tourist tournament needs some scheduling work. I think the past couple of years, playoff games are being played for pro past midnight, and I don't think in any pro tournament that should be the case. And I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of people, and we're all men, and everyone sucks it up and plays. If you want to sleep in, get the 1 seed, but at the same time, it's just, to me, I don't think that's fair to anyone playing, whether it's me or I wasn't even at the tournament, and I texted Ross that they got the 5th seed, and I was like, oh, the 1 a.m. tour special, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, they have a tough task at hand with a huge tournament and a lot of teams that got to get games in. But I think it's become too much of a repeat there. So hopefully that gets improved on. But yeah, the coverage for the live stream is great. They do a great job. Good, Trefty, on the mic, he's one of the best, and it's a lot of work for him to do, and he does a great job. So it's hats off to him for the coverage, and hopefully they can work out the scheduling to make it a little bit more forgiving, next year. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I think the one thing for cameras is the behind the goal cameras are sweet, right? So cutting to them is awesome. The ones in the penalty box aren't that great. So when they cut to them and like they're behind the play or they're in front of the play, I think they need to. This is just me nitpicking too. They need to cut out some of the angles that they have.
Focus on the good ones.
Yeah, like the main center one that goes back and forth. The ones behind the goal are sweet because when they do the replays from them, it's a sick angle, right? And you get to see everything. But Trefty on the mic is always great. I was upset that George Brown didn't join him on the cast. So but the way Karsha was playing, he probably was doing a little more pep talking than he wanted to. So
yeah, Trefty had one of my favorite play calls on that one Chavo goal where you just hear him, and a great job not back checking. It's got it. I don't remember who the player was, but
yeah, it was like he goes and a great job not back checking. Then Chavo pulls the backhand toe drag.
Yeah,
it's not gonna make you feel good.
No, that's some salt in the wound there. That's for sure.
But then talking about the schedule kind of getting crazy and everything, I think that's something that I like to talk about with roller that I think a lot of people don't realize who don't follow roller real closely, and maybe even people that play other sports is, you go to ice hockey tournaments, these guys, you have a game, plenty of time to relax, but when you're playing roller, it's a gauntlet no matter what. Like, you're playing multiple games a day, and on top of that, you might be playing at 3 p.m. and then 1 a.m. in a game like this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think every tournament's a little different. I think there's one, like the tournament and administrators and Timmy and Darren and guys who run tours, like they have so much on their plate that we're thankful for them for putting these tournaments on, and it's just one of those things where there's no perfect solution. As a bystander, we all think we have the right answers, but it's a lot harder to run a tournament, or else everyone would do it. But at the same time, when it comes to I think it's just for pro, you're playing 7 games in 3 days, and you definitely do not want to be going to bed at 3 a.m. and having to wake up at 10 o'clock to play a team that's coming fresh off a bye. But at the same time, like I said earlier, you just got to play better and get a 1 or 2 seed. But I don't know how to mitigate issues where whether it's longer block times, they have the shootouts for pro. I just feel like it's just a guarantee at those, whether it's the rinks being wet, it was just a guarantee the games were an hour or more behind. And to me, that's not something that, can be acceptable year over year. But at the same time, like, I'm not a tournament director. I don't know what goes into it. I don't make schedules. So who am I to talk, really? I'm just a grumpy guy trying to not play a playoff game at that hour. But, hats off to them for what they do. It's great for the game, and it's just in a perfect world. Is it different? Yes, but hey,
World ain't
you
perfect.
just got to be better. Yeah, exactly. You got to be better and get a freaking bye.
Well,
Yeah.
and not to go too much into it. I mean, they did melt the pro sheet rink ice underneath it, so and I guess overtime or whatever happened. I don't know why the arena rink was an hour behind. That seemed typical. But the C rink, apparently that was not the tournament's fault. That was the rink itself, facility's fault, I think it was. They apparently left the door to go outside open while they were making repairs on something, and it melted the ice. So it's unfortunate, and it just completely set back the entire program for the entirety of the week and a half or whatever it is. But yeah, I just think like go the extra mile, melt all the rinks. If you're gonna do it, melt them.
Yeah, especially if you're going to melt it halfway through the tournament.
So melt them all, avoid the issues, have enough pucks, and I think you got yourself a solid tournament.
But when you do have the gauntlet going for you specifically as a player, and you have a bunch of games in a day, how do you prepare for that? Do you kind of just load up, eat a bunch the day before? Do you eat during games? What's your deal?
I mean, I don't know. I've had the same, I guess, routine for as long as I can remember. But yeah, just trying to stay on top of nutrition and eating well, and try not to have too many beers after the games. Roller's a funny sport, I tell you, because in ice, there's the one or two guys that can go out on the road the night before a game and go put up a hattie. I was never one of them, so I didn't play many games guilty in my time. But there's guys, especially in roller, who can do it all the time, and I'll never be that guy. But yeah, just trying to stay on top of sleep, nutrition. I'm not doing anything crazy or changing stuff, but I'm a little banged up nowadays, so doing a little bit of a warm up before games is a must. I don't get to just lace them up anymore and go feel good. So yeah, just got to take care of yourself, stay on top of food and stuff. But at the same time, these tournaments are fun. So after games, it's fun to either go have a team meal and have a couple pops, or see guys that I used to play ice with, or play that I've known my whole life. That's what makes roller so great, is you can go battle and have awesome high level hockey games, and then go grab a beer after with some of your best buds that you don't get to see anymore. So it's fun. But yeah, and for me, nothing crazy, just eating clean and staying hydrated and taking care of my body the best I can. But you're hurting on Monday no matter what. So
I mean, honestly, if you're not hurting after a roller tournament, did you really play? I mean, I say that often, but but yeah, I mean, we appreciate you coming on and joining us and talking roller hockey and talking about yourself and your experience and everything like that. We enjoy the stories that people tell us, and yours is no different and unique, and just want to thank you for joining us.
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Like I said, before we got started, thank you guys for what you do for the game. It's great to see. I think it's only gonna, keep growing roller hockey. Not just at the pro level, but from the ground up. You guys are bringing on people from all sorts of backgrounds and things like that, and involved in roller. And I think it's great to see. I'll play roller until I can't. So I'm always gonna try to be a staple and get back to the game. And so we thank you guys. I really enjoy what you guys are doing. So keep that going, and hopefully we'll see you guys at some point during the summer run or at tournaments out in California if you guys make it out here.
I appreciate it.
Definitely, man.
And so if you're playing roller hockey, don't let up, because there's no offsides. I'm Dan Dean.
I'm Justin Wood.
Scotty, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate you.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Peace out.
No offside.